Check, check. I'm sorry for everyone that was online. Okay, so I didn't miss anything much, but really what I wanted to touch on there was the assessment. So what first and foremost, we need to understand where we're trying to fly and what are the implications of flying there. A lot of this is pretty intuitive, right? If I have enough space to fly, we're good. If I don't, no. But sometimes it can be pretty tricky. We're looking out for different aspects like airspace. We're looking at the quantity of drones. We're trying to understand what else is happening in the area. Is there a unique TFR being placed because of a special someone's coming into town? All sorts of different aspects actually qualify our location. Ultimately, what it boils down to is understanding where we can launch from. So as you can see here, this yellow L, beautifully made, is representing our launch zone. Now, obviously, our launch zone can change depending on the quantity of drones that we have. The old school way of doing it was to actually have a grid of drones 10 by 10 on the ground. And for every 100 drones you had, you needed a new grid. We did come out with an update where you can effectively spell your name with the drones, just lay them out, and we could say hello, and they could launch from that hello in whatever fashion necessary. There's some nuance to it. However, we do have that flexibility now. So if we ever needed to dodge a tree or fly around a light post, we could actually surround the light post and not be right at the light post. It gives us a lot more flexibility as operators. Besides the launch zone, and which is relatively easy to achieve, a small flat area for roughly most of the time about the size of a tennis court. We're also looking for the much larger display footprint. That is really the largest aspect to confirming the feasibility of a drone show. So as you can see here, there's a few pretty circles. The first one is our green show zone area. This show zone area obviously will differ in size depending on the quantity of drones. For this, to make it work and use the space that we have allotted, it's a smaller 30 drone demo. Most of the time, however, I'd say this larger white zone is the actual size of the entire show area. So a lot of times what you'll see is a common drone show, typically flying up to 400 feet in altitude, is anywhere between 5 to 700 feet wide. So roughly the size of a football field up in the air just for that 15-minute flight. So things that we have to consider is, how do we tell these drones to stay in this area? Well, there's certainly hard-coded honestly directions into the drones that tell them this is going to be your path working with GPS to understand exactly which coordinates to move on from one point A to point B. But also we have safety redundancies like a dual layer geofence, like this blue and red line are outlining. So what that means is that if a drone, while the drones are going through their pre-automated path, they go up into the air, they start to spell out some cool things like hello. If for some reason their GPS is telling them to go a little bit further and they start to enter that blue zone will send a command to the drone and also notify the pilot on the software that says, hey, I've gone too far, time to come home. And it will hopefully take that first command and come all the way home and land nice and safely. If it doesn't get that command, it will pass through the red zone, which that red zone is pretty much a see ya zone. It'll send the drone all the way down to the ground at a controlled landing, or what we call parachuting. If it doesn't hit the blue one, it will absolutely hit the red one. There's several commands being sent within a second to the drone to receive that, and that's how we ensure our safety. So now you might be wondering, what's the bigger zone all about? Well, similar to a firework fallout zone, we have to ensure that we have a safety buffer around our display. It's outlined by FAA regulations as well as our own safety standards. Really, what this is outlining is if a drone were at 400 feet and it were to fall or land or whatever it may be, how far could it go diagonally to the ground? And that is that farthest point in the white box here. So that's all calculated and understood when we create these site plans. Again, it's kind of the very serious aspect to a fun display. It's just making sure that we're able to check all these boxes. Outside of just a site assessment, once again, we're looking for the FAA approval. As a drone show operator, you're able to get a long-standing waiver to be able to operate drones at night without the conventional anti-collision lights, and also to have a waiver to fly more than one. That's a longer story that I'll spend for a different conversation. But ultimately, we're going through all those steps, working with local officials to make sure that we can use the space. The combination of universities were wonderful in allowing us to use the parking lot tonight. But once we kind of check those boxes, now it's really off to the fun part. And by fun part, it's really talking about the contents of the show, which ultimately a huge appeal to drone shows is that they are truly customizable. Anything you can think of, if we can pull it off with a couple hundred dots, we can absolutely build it. So there's a few ways that we like to go about it here at Firefly. First, let's say that we don't exactly know what we want to do. We're a little unsure. We just know we want to make a big splash in our market or make a very special event even more special. Well, we'll probably start with a storyboard. So for an example here, here's a 400 drone show we did for the PGA Tour Championship golly, 2 years ago in downtown Atlanta. And this storyboard's a great example. So what we'll often do is we'll work with customers. We'll ask, hey, what kind of different designs do we want to incorporate in the show? They'll mention to us we must have our logo. We've got to have some sponsor credit. And we also want to have something fun in there, like a giant 3D trophy. We said, okay, great. We can absolutely do that. We'll provide this storyboard, work off of it in a classic storyboard manner, check our colors, make sure we like the order, take any feedback. And from there, once we've actually hashed out the contents of the show, and this one was a bit more of an advertisement style show, and I'll show you some examples of more out there entertainment style shows. But once we kind of confirmed our slides, then we'll actually, my favorite part, add full movement animation and color. So this is all done through our softwares, specifically Cinema 4D as the animation software. You can do it in Blender and other animation softwares with the right plugins, but effectively we're building out these specific designs custom to the customer. Then once we like what we see, we like that the 3D trophy, we like the reveal as it slowly shows us that it's a much larger thing than this small white ball. Then we'll kind of send this over for final approval. Once we get that thumbs up, we'll actually move to the full show preview. So this full show preview, it certainly has changed over time, but ultimately what it is an example of verbatim what the drones will do right before the flight. So this allows us to really get a few aspects understood. Specifically on the design side, we're able to work off of just understanding our show flow, how did we think that reveal took too long? How do we want to move on to the next aspect? What are we, how do we actually want to tailor this experience for our audience? On the other side of it, we're also running several different safety checks throughout the software. Our animators and designers know to account for drone proximity, for the speed, as well as the velocity from one drone moving from point A to point B. Will it hit anything else on its way? And all sorts of different aspects there, as well as programming the lights. So once we've kind of gotten to this final preview stage, then we'll actually go out and fly it. So this is just a quick video of it being flown live. And as you can see, it's verbatim to what the preview shows us. Basically, because the animation file that we take, we then convert it into a drone's path file, which ultimately assigns a drone to a dot in the animation and also assigns GPS coordinates to it, depending on where we are. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun. It was really hot that day. Fun fact, it was like 111 degrees. I felt like I was going to melt on the pavement, but it was certainly a good time. So that is, one approach and the major approach that we'll take for a custom ask. Sometimes folks will come to us and say, hey, you know what? My event is in a week and I just want to pull off something cool. What do you have in the can, right? And so then we actually created a catalog where people can actually just go through pre-made designs that we have and see how they can incorporate it within their show. So you can look up some things like holiday, and actually, if it's very specific, so it'll just show me happy holidays, but I'll be able to locate different aspects within our catalog and start to piece together my show that way. And then also ask for different custom asks. Again, this is the fun part. We're building out this experience. It's really it's important to note sometimes that this happy holidays, this is 600 feet wide and 400 feet tall. It's massive and it can be seen for miles, right? And it can get lost on the screen. However, I'd say a great story was we did a show this past March in Fort Myers. We just did the show. There was a big airplane in it, and while we're packing up, this truck comes by, and he stands on top of his truck because he's trying to look over a fence, and he said, "That's what that is. I can see it 7 miles inland." And we're like, That's us." So they definitely have a lot of range, which also just makes them really impressive when they're up close and personal, which of course you guys will see a little bit later with those 30 drones. Kind of the last thing I want to mention within our design aspect is we've actually pushed our preview, and actually I'll do it like this. I'll go off script and go to the actual website. So we created this application called Firefly Studio. This is effectively a show builder tool where we can take those pre-made designs and we can lay them onto our timeline. So effectively, once our animators are done with the specifically made piece, it gets uploaded onto here. And so then we'll have this list of scenes where we can drag each design onto this timeline and slowly build out our show order and then custom tailor it from there on this timeline, the color and the transitions, the effects as well. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll take it.
So who owns is with the imaging? So do you own like the the image in the sky?
That's a
Or
great
is
question.
that the people who are asking the property?
That's a great question. It ultimately boils down to what we're making. So if we're making a logo, it's kind of split typically, where the asset as what it is indeed the person's logo who we're building. So if we make it for Purdue, that's their logo. However, the files and the proprietary information to build out that logo with the drone show, that's Firefly's, just because it's proprietary and kind of a trade secret thing. But ultimately, it's I'd say most of the time it's a combined ownership of, hey, we did this thing together. It's a great question.
So like you put like there's an idea like if you did like a Purdue look like you could put the PGA tour on your website and like they would sue you.
Right. So yeah, that's a great point. With PGA Tour, it's within our agreement that we can own those assets and be able to share it. Naturally, especially since it's 2 years, that happened 2 years ago. It's no longer a very hot topic relevant aspect. And of course, for that show specifically, and a lot of times you'll see this as the purpose of the show is for marketing. So a lot of times they're like, yeah, absolutely, share our show. We want people to see that we did this and that we're bringing this championship to town, kind of thing. So I will say that, obviously, there is a portion of our clients that are private, that we will go to a private location and do the show for a private audience. Those are absolutely considered under wraps, where you wouldn't be able to. I couldn't share it in this setting, right? So it just kind of depends on the project that you're working with, on how that ownership really shakes out. So great question. Not everybody asks that. And I'm glad I was prepared for
So
it.
how long did it take you to build out Purdue Pete with his sledgehammer hitting the IQ logo of Scott?
That's a good question. Well, you'll see some elements of that in our 30 drone demo, but as a good question.
If you could make it happen.
Yeah. We can see what we can do. But an actual answer to that, depending on what you're making, you can make it pretty quick. Usually with an experienced animator, if we're saying, Purdue rules in the sky, we could probably make that within a morning. Just depending on, again, the aspects within the show. So if we're, simple lighting and we're just spelling out Purdue rules, that can be made again within a couple hours. Sometimes even less, if depending on your skill set. But if we wanted to have that full scene of Purdue crushing the enemy and also doing a backflip in the show, well, that's going to take a whole lot more coordination, really, just to understand how am I going to bring all those drones to look like that, and then also how am I going to play out the movement and build out each aspect of the animation. So it can become very swiftly, very tedious to make that scene. But we found shortcuts along the way, especially in the animation department. So, what we can use Studio to build the show and actually Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll ask you, is there a minimum amount of drones that you would need to do some of these things?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a very good question. A lot of times that's kind of what it boils down to when we make these shows is, okay, what do we have to work with and how do we have it come across the best? So you'll notice that 100 drones or 30 drones tonight will be simpler, right? We have to stay simple. Again, if it's really easy on the animation side to think of it like pixels in the sky. We got 30 dots to work with. How are we going to really leverage those 30 dots in a very impressive manner, right? Naturally, we're not going to try to paint the Mona Lisa with 30, but we might be able to spell out a P and make it have some lights go through it. So, ultimately, I would say on a professional standpoint, we usually start with 100 drones for if someone were to come to me and say, I want to do something special for this celebration, we'd at least start with 100 because that's where we found you can start to have multiple characters in a word. You could spell out the full word Purdue with 100 drones. It might be simple text, but still possible. And then as you grow in quantity, we like to go in increments of 100 drones. As you go up in quantity, you're able to then really, exemplify or really portray the thing that you're looking for. So, very good question. I'd say my sweet spot, or like what I think is like a solid number, is 300 drones. You can really pull off a lot and not break the bank. But naturally, with 1,000 plus, you can really start to paint a whole scene. So, great question. How am I doing on time?
Before.
Okay. And want to wrap up.
15.
Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so some of the cool things I wanted to show you was, once we actually build out the show using the studio app, we're actually able to then pull up a preview. So I've actually got that already pulled up here. And what we're able to do from this preview is assess a whole lot of things. This tool really becomes the operator's guidelines, and I'll kind of start simple. So what we're able to do is place a takeoff, which I haven't done for this demonstration, but you'll see that later. And then we're able to actually see the show itself in this 3D location and assess everything associated. Most of the time, it's really just considering viewing angle and also our safety from here. We're able to actually pull up our safety zone like we had talked about briefly. Here's the white, the red, the blue, and the green, like seen on that pre-drawn up map. But also we're able to adjust our altitude. We're able to even make them a little bit shinier and really kind of play through the scenario of what it would look like to see the show. So it's a little bit of a spoiler to what we're going to see. But ultimately this preview tool is kind of that next step where we're able to then make assessments. Okay, how big is this actually going to be on the parking lot here, and how can we provide the best audience experience? So outside of building the show and going through those proper safety protocols, it's really just, again, how do we take it to the next level? So something I wish I actually had it on me, but it's stuck in Florida. But we have, those auxiliary equipment pieces that I mentioned previously. One of the most important one is how we run audio. Again, I won't have it for the demo, but we do have machines that we've made for the audio to be synchronized with the drone show. It actually connects directly to our pilot software, and we're able to upload the audio file over the air from anywhere. It connects to LTE, and we're able to sync the audio to start exactly when the drones take off. Which is super helpful when you're trying to. An example was we were doing a show for a city for Veterans Day weekend on Saturday, and they wanted it in 5 different locations within their city. So we ran those boxes all throughout the city. We were able to trigger the audio right at 7 o'clock when the drones took off, and the entire city was glowing with the drone show audio. So you have what we found is little trinkets like that can really build the audience experience. On top of that, we've made an audience app where you're able to just scan a QR code and the music will play off of your phone. We've also pieced together a few different little gadgets like that. None as cool. We've also done different creature comforts, as you'll see when we walk out there. I'll show you some of the equipment that we built firsthand. But all of these things are made with the idea of how do I manage hundreds of drones as easily as possible. How do I make them compact? How do I fit them in one Sprinter van or a truck and trailer? And how do I manage, and this is my segue, is how do I manage hundreds of batteries, right? Especially with these style drones, we're working with LiPo batteries that need to be cared for in their life cycle, as well as managed on a power standpoint as we prepare for show. The drones that we built can handle about 18-minute flight times. Usually that means on our chargers about five hours of charging. So how do we charge? Here's an example. If we're doing 1,000 drones in San Diego, how do we charge 1,000 batteries when we fly in the day before and the show's tomorrow, right? So what we did was we built a custom smart charger that can house 50 of our style batteries, and all is managed throughout Wi-Fi and on a screen. And from there, you can set the battery percentage and manage them a lot more efficiently. So that 1,000 drone show automatically becomes a lot easier, where we can plug in 2 to 3 charger cases in our hotel room and manage, I can charge 150 batteries in 5 hours, which used to be impossible. So little things like that we found are those creature comforts that really make it a lot easier to operate these shows. And I could definitely spend a whole lot more time talking about each and every aspect of this, but I definitely want to take a few more questions before we head outside to see the demo. I'm sure I've missed some good stuff. So any questions so far? Yeah. Yeah, so that was this FedEx Cup storyboard, but I can show you a few more. We'll use this is a pretty cool car one. So this was actually a great. I'm glad you made me pull this up, because there's sometimes where we're still so uncertain on what we want. You said you want the logo, but how do you want the logo? And you've got a few different ways we could do it. So sometimes we take one step backwards and we actually will illustrate those designs and create an illustrated storyboard to start. So this was a very car heavy show. It was for a private racetrack that was going to open up and is opened up in Tampa now. And they wanted to incorporate a whole bunch of different things. But from the illustrations, we were able to start talking about, okay, we have 300 drones. How do we build out 2 sports cars racing against each other? And how do we really make 300 drones make this Porsche look as impressive as possible? That can be certainly a challenge. The illustrations is it's kind of working in twofold. One, setting an expectation for, in this case, our client to understand, okay, this is, don't think we can build a full Hot Wheels car in the sky, but we can, make these more simplified versions of that. It's also at the same time helping our animators think about the best approaches to those designs. How do I really leverage it? Which lines do I really focus on? From those illustrations, then we actually jump right into the full movement, color, and lighting. We get a pretty good understanding from there. And we'll actually, for the sake of our example, I think it's sitting up here, right here. So this again, 300 drones. We really want to focus on how we can leverage that, make it as recognizable as possible. Understanding that I'm looking at a Ford GT versus just a blobby car. That's really the animator's challenge, I'd say. And from there, this is a really fun transition where it kind of takes us into a different car. I was looking for the drag racers, but I don't know where they are now. But as you can see, it's kind of a lot of it is just nuance of how you want it to move. But within this storyboard, we're able to then go back and forth, change our colors. And a lot of that, and hopefully to answer your question, a lot of that is actually correspondence on a call with them or through emails where we're taking those notes. A lot of those email chains look like a Bible of designs and how we kind of figure out exactly how we want to fine tune things. And then, every deliverable is an updated storyboard where we're sharing this updated set of visuals. And then once again, our full preview. And maybe I'll get to the cool part from here. It's too late. But that is the show in a nutshell. Hopefully that answered your question. Anybody else? Yeah.
This might seem a bit off topic, but like part of me is curious. Like I know like your whole like priority is like thing you mainly do is like drone shows, which is very cool. Like I imagine that doing stuff like this for like big corporations and whatnot, they probably contact other stuff like this. Like, have you ever had to work with other teams? Like, personally, like what I'm curious about, like, how would you integrate like a sound team into this?
Yeah,
Has that ever happened?
From
absolutely.
fireworks as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, fireworks, special effects team, especially the higher level event, you're working with teams from all over, and that's probably my favorite is when we get to work with a stadium team or a stage team is probably the most applicable, where you're working with a stage audio PA system team, which they're working with all sorts of different lighting boards. What you'd consider from a concert, right? The stage is set, the lights are set, we've got audio, big speakers that we have to manage. There's often times where we're working throughout all of those teams, as well as the production team that's actually managing everything and coordinating with them when we're going to do showtime. For instance, the music festival we just did, we're following along on the set list of the headliner and waiting for that one song to hit. And then we've got to go all systems go, get these drones ready to fly, make sure that everything is ready for flight. And then, kind of hit takeoff right at that perfect moment. And working with a live artist in that situation is pretty tricky because things will happen live and you have to wait for those right cues to send the drones up. If you get it wrong, of course, it's going to look pretty interesting if the artist is in the middle of still speaking and the drone show is going off and he wanted to intro that and now that's happening. So there's definitely a lot of correspondence that'll happen, the coordination between each team member. I'd say most oftentimes we're working with fireworks companies, lighting, production, and audio. Those are kind of the main ones. But every once in a while, you'll get those really custom asks where we've got a helicopter coming in, and I need you to make sure that the helicopter understands where you guys are and that he's going to go around you guys and things like that. So it's a lot of nuance to the event. But you're at least working with two or three different teams for every given event. It's a great question.
I have an online question.
Sure.
Their amount of drones you plan to bring for contingency in case some don't work or you have issues before the show. For example, if you have a 30 drone show, how many do you bring to ensure seamless presentation?
An excellent question. So yes, we definitely want to come prepared. We live by the motto of one is none, two is one, and that definitely goes for drones as well. Sometimes there could be aspects of going through transit or honestly wear and tear on a drone where it's flown its thousandth flight and it's time to quit or it's communicating that it can't fly. We definitely bring spares. Most of the time we're bringing around 30 spares for 100 drone show is the best, kind of quantity there. So if we have 200, we have close to 60 spares. And from there, once we have 60 spares, it's usually how much we'll have, just effectively two extra cases. So we can fit 30 to 50 drones within one of our drone Pelican cases. And so it's ultimately, do we bring one, two, or three additional cases depending on our size of show? A great question. I saw hers and I'll come back to you. Yeah. It's a great question. And I'll say that a lot. But for price, it kind of depends again what we're building. Since they're so custom, it ranges quite a lot. I'd say the low end on the market for a drone show is right around 15,000. The high end is six figures plus. So, again, it depends on a few factors. What are we making? How many do we have? And where are we going? A drone show in Italy is a lot more expensive than a drone show in Indiana. So it just kind of depends on a few factors involved. Great question. It really does toggle. I'd say most are pretty much in the middle. Go ahead.
Just wondering, how secure are your drones? Like, or something.
Oh, forgive me, I missed the first part.
How secure?
Oh, how
We're
secure?
gonna hit with cybersecurity questions now.
No, this is great. Yeah, so rather secure. There's a lot of communication redundancies, and also our natural, I guess, hard-coded defense lines within cybersecurity measures where we're kind of thinking about, okay, if I were to try to stop a drone swarm, what are the aspects to do so? A lot of times that's trying to block the communications or override the communications to the drones. All that's happening within an enclosed system, which is, again, has several redundancies that it'd be rather difficult to be able to, I guess, in this situation, penetrate and be able to gain access to. Even down to the positioning of each drone, it's not just relying on one piece of data to give its GPS position, but rather a multitude of data that's being fed very frequently. So, yeah, cybersecurity is definitely a huge aspect for us. Naturally, it's a swarm of drones that you could, in the right hands or wrong hands rather. But we definitely take those extra steps to make sure that we're secure. A lot of it is, again, how can you get a hold of the communication system? So that's kind of what we hold on secure the most.
So you can't hack the system to have them all aim at the IU Trident on the campus. It's just not gonna happen. So
Unfortunate.
it might be a suspicion bias, but I can't.
We got about 2 minutes, so probably like one more question.
Go ahead.
Transport the battery, so I know airlines don't like that much batteries.
Yeah, no, that's great insight. Airlines, absolutely. There's a limit. Right around 20 batteries or so on one person for the style of battery. Again, it depends on the nature of it. For the lithium polymers that we use, you can have 20 batteries or so carrying on, but you can't fly with it. You can't put it under a plane. You typically would ground ship it, and that's via pallet. So I'd say a lot of times when we're going across the country, we're palletizing things, sending a few pallets out with all the equipment necessary, including the batteries. And that's all being shipped ground freight. Or we'll actually hop in a van ourselves and drive it there, just because it's such a important aspect to the operation and the most dangerous aspect of the operation. We kind of want to keep that in good hands and naturally regulations like that. If we're going overseas, it's by boat as well. That's probably a good answer there. But yeah, I wish you could travel, put them both together, but I'd say it's a good thing that batteries are on their own, especially when you're moving 1,000 of them or so. So yeah, good question. I think that might be our time and good segue.
Hand for coming on. So the plan is we want to have some drones in the sky in about 20 minutes. We are going to, kind of go at the pace you need to get over there in time, but we'll head over to Boiler Park. So that's across the street. They've got usually the light.
Where just lights wait to be turned on effectively. Besides our launch zone, what you'll see is our ground control station, where tonight it's pretty bare bones. It's just a table with our server, our laptop, and our battery. That battery acts like our generator. We can power an entire 1,000 drone fleet's network with just one of those Sanker batteries for about 5 hours or so. Pretty lightweight. Once again, a key aspect of what you're building out the system. The two big things about the ground control station are our RTK base station. That green metal on a stick over there, that is the most important aspect of the drone's positioning. That is working with satellites and the drones to understand exactly where the drones need to be and making sure that they get to the right coordinates on time. Besides the RTK base station, our access points, which you can't see real well, but there's one right there, just past the grid there. That access point, that's how we're actually sending our commands to each drone through that network. For most shows, when we're doing, let's say, a 100 drone show, we'd have 1 or 2 access points. We place the other one pretty much center where the show is. Once again, usually our drone shows are a lot bigger, so we want to span out a larger amount of space. Since it's a smaller show and it's pretty much all happening right above where the grid is, we just need that one access point to fly. What else we got? That's practically it. We've got it to a point where you just need a few cases to be able to make things happen. Once again, we get 30 to 50 drones in one of these Pelican cases. That Pelican case just behind Michael there that's our standard Falcon case. We can fit everything in there. So he's standing behind a ground control station. Michael, do you mind wheeling that over? Yeah. So a standard back actually has just a few elements to it. These ground cases. One is drones. Stands. 3D are our ground control stations. So this is our ground control case. I'll kind of turn on the light here so you can see it. You'll notice again our server, our RTK, which is being used currently, and then our access points. And there's one missing because it's right on the ground. But this is practically in a box ready to go. A few steps, and you're able to connect to a fleet of, again, 1 to 1,000 plus drones. So it's pretty compact. It's a bit heavy, but nothing Michael can't handle. Give a round of applause for Michael. Great. Wow. So, let's see. Any we're pretty close here. It's about 6:52. What haven't I talked about yet? So in the aspects of execution, really much like any real event or performance, we're aiming for what we planned for all this time, right? Months ago, Josh and I were talking via email and calls, hashing out how we're going to make this spectacular demo make sense and possible. We're talking about all of the different aspects that we touched on earlier, site assessment, needs to be involved. What do we need to communicate to them? How do we make this thing a reality? Then behind Josh's back, we designed a show for him to see and to surprise you guys. Again, all that is compiling together. The team actually drives down and arrives in Purdue to perform the show. At that time, we laid out the drones. We make sure everything is going through several safety checks. Everything is really housed through the pilot app. Again, it's that app over there, which we'll look at after the show, is the main brain to all of the drones on the ground. It's constantly serving communications from the drones to the pilot, sharing the current statuses of the drones. If one has a low battery or needs to be replaced or doesn't get a GPS, it's telling the pilot that, and they're able to use the spares that we brought to then hotspot those drones. At that point, all the pilots doing their thing, making sure that the drones are getting ready for takeoff. Again, that other aspects of that are actually placing the show, on, and again, we'll show this after the demo, but they'll place the show exactly where it's actually going to fly, assess the safety perimeter, and then our team, practically just before show, usual time frame is just about 15 minutes before the show. Make sure that the place is generally clear. While we were walking up, I looked around. This place was generally clear. However, right before our show time, we're going to work with the security team to make sure that the entire place is totally clear before the drones take off. And us as an audience will actually watch just at the outskirts of that parking structure, and we'll put the show up and make sure that once again it's a completely sterile, safe environment. All full of non-personnel, or all free of non-personnel, all full of personnel, and then we'll take the flight up. Both shows are just about 15 minutes, I think, because it's cold. It's just a demo. I think we're closer to a 7 or 8 minute flight, so it won't be as long, but we'll still definitely get plenty of understanding of what the deal is all about. It's once again, much smaller, but still, it's pretty tall. I think we got coded a little bit shorter than 400 feet since we're so close to personal. But you'll definitely be able to see the drones interacting, going through their pre-automated paths, and we'll be able to show off a little bit of the animation techniques that we have. Again, with 30 drones, it's pretty simple, but a lot of fun still. All right, what are we looking at for time? Just about 5 minutes. Does anyone have one single question before we walk over there for the show? Take it as a good thing. All right, why don't we also migrate right next to the door there at the edge of the parking lot. I'm gonna make sure our pilot's ready to go for 7 o'clock showtime. Gotta make sure this place is just very good. Yep. I'm ready to get.
Yes.
Bar-ish area, like where the people. Yeah, I think we all. The volume wants me, I think. Anything is better than this.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
James, hello. Here, let's do this. Tap it. There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there we go. Full screen. My 11-year-old's operating the camera now, so he does all right though. He's good. He's good. He's well trained.
Holy lights. I'm not like no.
Yesterday was.
It was so warm right before yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. We lost them recently.
Sorry, it's gotta get through 1 week of.
Friday is.
You notice that? Like, is it basically? Yeah, they're actually just gonna miss it. Yeah, they're also just not gonna see it. Yeah, they're actually just gonna be back.
Wait, are they going the parking lot behind you?
Wait, why?
But no, why aren't they going to this one? Why are they going to the physical exact?
They can reverse the video.
Wait, yeah, you can mirror the video.
Yeah, that's so.
Or you can record it.
Here's up.
Oh, wonderful. We're allied before. They have been here.
No problem. You can rotate this a little on the base. See, you just gotta push down a little bit.
They make it.
I'm dizzy.
Wait, how big is it?
I don't think I'm gonna need my.
Yeah, you don't need that many people.
Oh, pretty. Make everything themselves.
I don't think yes, we're just.
Like speculating.
Yeah. Let's get.
I think it's. I just do this.
So many people said.
They make everything themselves. All right. Nice shows. I don't think. Why can I not press control?
Are you flashing? I do. Yeah. It's staying on. There goes your battery. Are they at the car yet?
They're high key just.
Charge. And it starts in one bit.
There they go.
I keep.
Look at his head. See the garbage.
I gotta have a key.
What the? What a range.
There it is. Yeah. Order up. Go.
Can I record it and be on a call?
Nice. Take that, are you?
You take a picture with flashing.
It's cool.
If you took a picture.
I just saw him because you could talk.
Can't blame this on me. Sounds really cool.
Oh gosh, why is it it's so hot? On the feet, oh, legs up. Set is. Hammer. Why? Yeah. Down, hammer down. There you go. Oh yeah. Yeah. Neat. Well, helmet there, helmet. Hey, it's gonna be a graduation. It's only 30. It's only 30. Like physics simulation college thing out up. We like you could like make a 3D render of it and then they just plug it in this window words. I don't think that's how that works. Okay, we can do it right now. Just need someone that's really good at something.
You just know how to do it. Let's try this.
That's how that works. It's coming towards you. It's coming towards you. They like shoot stuff. Yeah. If you just fly a drone towards you. Oh, we got what we got. Oh no, that's straight. Triangle. Yeah. The shit up. Love it. That's not. There's no way. I mean, probably up there. And so it's not attacking. What do you do if they start flashing books? That's all.
I can do so much more with one girl.
Try to clap here. Can't feel my fingers.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, yeah. That's all it's awesome. We think it is beyond my I want 30 drunk. Oh no. That's the plan. Do this every weekend. Like next year. You guys are building something. Oh yeah.
This is sweet.
There are like yes.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks for coming. There's questions after if you want.
We're talking.
Hey, hello, hello. We have Q&A after. If you want to throw any question, I will try here. It has to come back over our way. Yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. If you do have to go, no worries.
Yeah. For bags. Very fun.
Yeah,
That kind of
Well,
How did you?
no.
Are you going back to the classroom or?
I don't know. I said we could go back on the first floor.
Yeah,
Did they all get some?
It's on Zoom. Yeah, no problem, Natalie.
Now we go check it out. All right.
Let's go check it out.
Oh yeah.
We're all recognizing.
I need some bit. I need some video.
I want that video.
Thanks, you guys. That was awesome. Loved it. Loved it. Good stuff.
So our conclusion here is just to show you a little bit of how we did that.
Yeah.
So Riley here is our pilot for the evening. Everybody,
Thanks, Riley.
thanks, Riley. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Real briefly, I just wanted to see the pilot app so they can kind of see. So sure, you can hold this. Yeah, okay, great. So this is the pilot app that we were talking about earlier, and that Riley just used. Each one of these cells is a drone on the ground right now. And as you can see, Riley's connected to 29 of them with one on standby because I just took one and I unplugged it and it's in Michael's hands right now. But he's since plugged it back in, correct? Yes. And the pilot app can tell, and that's why it's on standby. I could power on the drone from here at any time. So again, thinking about ease of use, ease of deployment, pulling out when you're doing 1,000 drone show, pulling out 20 plus cases to be able to even just get them out on the ground to start tinkering with them. You want it to be easy as possible. So how do we do that? We took our cases, we made it so the drones do not have specific IDs at all. It used to be that you needed to have drone 1 and drone 1 spot. Now it could be any drone that's a Firefly Gen 2 drone can be on the ground with the right firmware. We can essentially detect that it's just sitting there with its battery inside. And then from there, we could actually power it on. Riley, if you feel confident, do you want to turn on the drone in Michael's hand? Pretty confident. Just to clarify, so that all happened over the air, just from click of a button on the pilot app. And then in a second, if you connect to it, sometimes it'd be kind of funny if it's in Michael's hands. But if you were able to give it an LED command, I'm not sure. There we go. Yeah. So any color we can give it an LED command. Anyone got a favorite color they want to see real quick? No?
Pink.
Blue? So we're pink. All right, pink. Coming in. So we're able to give those quick commands over the pilot app. That's really actually just to do an LED check. But you know, also for a neat parlor trick. But you know, again, the actual lights programming is through the animation paths that will present and upload onto the drones. But in a sense, that was really it in a nutshell. This is the Firefly Gen 2 that up close and personal for you guys. Here, if you want to boot it up one more time just for the cool light. So it's about a 2.5-pound quadcopter. It's again designed to be pretty much just a very efficient flying light bulb. Each drone is just about 3,600 lumens, which is quite bright for a drone, for really anything of that matter. These are just the accompanying LEDs as you just saw. But when Riley turns on the light,
You don't want to blind us.
don't look too much, but you can see those LEDs are on. Those are the major aspects that you see in the show. So when we're actually watching the show, we're watching the bottom of the drone for the most part. Just in case you are, you'll see those accompanying lights as well. Once each drone lands, we'll actually put them, we'll stack them up. We'll close each one of their propellers. We'll typically stack stacks of 5 on top of each other. They're designed, custom built to stack easily and then be thrown into a case, just in one big row. And then you can pull the battery, and this is the battery that we were talking about. So it's just like a typical drone battery that you might see, just wound effectively to custom specifications for us with a custom forward on top. So that is drone shows. Any questions? Go ahead.
What are like the conditions that you can fly in?
Great question. So really it boils down to weather. Weather is the biggest determinant in terms of you know, what can control a cancellation of a drone show outside of pending safety factors in the airspace and whatnot. If anything of those factors change, of course, that would change the likelihood of doing a drone show. But assuming that the safety conditions are good, and that we are permitted correctly, it really boils down to our wind speed and our precipitation. These things can handle a decent amount of precipitation, moisture rather. They can fly in clouds, they can fly in snow, but anytime that really starts to accumulate into actual raindrops, that's going to be where we're going to be the most cautious. Again, if it's light rain towards the end, I've seen them be fine, but we would typically not chance it for a live show. We would wait for there to be an actual clearing to prevent the water. Because however these are built to be water and weather resistant, they're not quite waterproof. And if they're in water for a prolonged amount of time, like all of you guys probably know, technology and water don't really get along. So that factor still applies here. We are in the process of actually improving our drone. This is an older plastic. We do have a newer plastic out that's flying shows that is even more weather resistant. We've conformal coated a lot of things more than this is conformal coated, and different aspects like that to chase a fully waterproof drone, which is close. We're very close. I'd say within the next year, hopefully we get a waterproof drone. But besides that, wind speeds, these things can handle 25-mile-an-hour winds, which is for the most part pretty high. You know, I'd say most of the time when we were flying, like tonight, it may be up there, maybe got to 10, 12 miles an hour, not too low, not too fast. So even then, a neat thing that I'll elaborate on is actually wind to some degree can actually help drones maintain their positioning by slightly moving the drone around. It's causing its GPS to recalibrate and say, wait a minute, where did I just go? I'm supposed to be here. And it actually helps the system stay exactly in the right position. So fun fact of the day. Any final questions? No? Oh, go ahead.
What causes them to be red?
So that's actually just implementing that the battery needs to be pulled. Some of these batteries are basically not as full as others, and those red batteries are like I need to get on a charger. So it does, it's a piece of their firmware that communicates that. So sometimes they'll beep as well, noting that the battery needs to be swapped. And if it's not batteries, if it's like before the show, you'll see that drones will sometimes be red and blinking. That's actually its status that it hasn't quite found where it is right now. So it could be one of the two. It could be still this case that the red drones haven't found where they are since they've landed, and there's more information being nothing's been uploaded. But yeah, it's usually the green and red are the statuses. You also see purple and yellow and blue. That's right. So all the colors mean different things. Now that you mention it.
I'm
But
curious what your employee makeup is like in terms of like hardware, software, animators, pilots. Like, what is that sort of?
yeah, that's a great question. So at this point, it's practically half operators and kind of drone technicians, as well as half everybody else, just because it takes a village to manage these fleets and get them across the country. But you know, within on the operations side, usually what you're looking for is somebody who's into events. A lot of the producers that we have, kind of the track that I take is you know, people who have been in hospitality and events, graduating with similar degrees, with maybe a background as well in computer science, depending. That'll kind of get you a producer, the person that's planning out these drone shows. On the actual drone tech side, you're looking for generally a hardware engineer, you know, some specific drone engineers that, you know, might have specific minors in aviation or at this point, robotics or unmanned aerial systems. Those will usually kind of you know, take up your drone techs and your operators. Yeah, especially since our pilots, for instance, have to have a Part 107 pilot's license. So that you'll kind of see drone enthusiasts start to go towards the pilot side. And then on the creative side, that's absolutely an animation major, even some interior design or really anybody from the creative spectrum. If they're willing to learn the new medium, they're absolutely welcome doing drone shows. And that's where a lot of our animators come from, is finding that new media.
Probably half our team are not clinically trained. They're just really raw, great artists that were willing to learn.
And the other half comes from Purdue.
Yeah, that's
yeah, we joke, but half, but it's really, we have 6 full-time animators from Purdue University now that come from the drone show animation program, which is really awesome. And then of course, in the real thick of it development, you can really find all sorts of different facets of majors within there. A lot of it is hardware engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical systems, firmware engineers. I'd say for anyone who's in kind of the engineering aspect, Python, of course, as we're building out software apps, any of those associated roles of UI or even just knowing JavaScript and C++ would also help you out. But a lot of that is, again, in the nuance of what exactly they're building, what the projects are. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's actually a decently wide range of interests, which is something that we've come to really enjoy. That it's not a very siloed. Even as a producer or as a designer, or as a pilot, you're very often working with everybody very closely. So you're kind of getting a piece of what the pilot's world's like, or what the developers, which is always the best, because it's like we have a bunch of really smart people in the same room, and sometimes they aren't talking to each other, but I know they're talking to each other via code. But no, it's a lot of different fun career paths to take.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious, 3 to 5 years from now, what kind of crazy stuff are we gonna see in the sky?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot. I'd say within just speaking on the last 3 to 5 years, it's really changed exponentially. I'd say the ease of use, the ease of deployment has changed a lot. On that note, I'd say within the next 3 to 5 years, we won't even be here with a minivan. We could have left and headed home while there was a box here, and one of us was on a computer saying, "Hey, check out the box. It's about to open, and the drones are going to come out." So I'd say on the It's a few feet to get there, but it's definitely on its way. And then I'd say the animation is going to continue to get to a very interesting. I don't even know if animation and design will peak, because eventually we're just going to continue to find new ways to make it cooler. And on that note, the special effects, I'd say drone shows are starting to see accompaniment with different adaptations to the drones, where the most common now that you'll see is a pyro drone. That's actually, it seems like we're taking a step backward from providing a safe display compared to a fireworks display. But we'll actually start to piece small payloads to the bottom of the drones that will set off fireworks in the air to kind of exemplify a certain design. So think like a birthday cake with the candles. We can actually light the candles in the sky, and it would actually be a sparkler on top of a drone creating that candle. So I'd say special effects are going to really take another. We'll see lasers and all sorts of like spotlights. Yeah. So
Spotlights, fog machines, lasers, all different types of maybe hologram fans, who knows? So
Yeah.
sorts of
whatever you can mount onto a drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it from us. If no one else has any more questions, thanks again for coming out. That we can do this. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah. All right. Well, that's us. We're gonna pack up,
All right.
get out of here. Thanks for staying in the cold. We're gonna go get warm. So
Night.
yeah. Oh, hey, I've got some stickers I'll hand out just for those who waited